when it comes to driving here in the United States, like what's her big like for you? It's parallel parking,
right?
What's Sylvia's struggle? Would you say? What's Sylvia's struggle? I'm asking you to tell everyone because I know what it is.
Wait, do you know what it is?
You said backing up.
Oh, yeah. She does have a hard time getting out of the driveway. But what I was going to say, excuse me, hold on.
And I'm sure your vehicle has the camera. I mean, it's not like we're backing up in 1995 with the mirrors anymore.
But the way my driveway is shaped, it is hard to get out of the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a good backer-upper, and I struggled with it for a long time. But I would say for her, the biggest adjustment, because in Italy, if there's nobody around, you can kind of roll through a stop sign. And here you have to, you're supposed to stop for 3 seconds.
Right. You have to come to a complete stop.
Right. And that was a big deal for her to get used to doing that versus what they do in Italy, which is if there is no one, you can just go.
Okay. Well, we got this story that reminded me of her out of Toledo, Ohio. A man was trying to teach his 9-year-old how to back out of the driveway on Sunday when the man was run over by the 9-year-old, court documents reveal.
Why are you teaching a 9-year-old to do that?
Good question, because he was intoxicated. The gentleman the dad was intoxicated at the time of the incident.
Good.
He was standing in the door of the car when the child sat in the driver's seat. The child, confused about the pedals, accidentally pressed the gas pedal instead of the brake, causing the car to knock him down and drag him underneath. Security footage that WTOL TV in Toledo showed 2 children rushing out to the car to help him while other children stood by watching the scene unfold.
That's not traumatic.
He was transported to a local hospital, though his condition remains unknown. He has been charged with wrongful entrustment of a motor vehicle and child endangerment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
thankfully, no one was injured.
Any of those other kids could have gotten run over, too.
Do you know that my neighbor in New Jersey used to come home in his stick shift Mazda Miata? And I would wait at the end of the driveway for him, and he would come down the street, and I would sit in his lap, and he would let me steer and go down the street, turn around, come back up. I would do 2 laps with him.
Dang.
And then I started to bring other friends, and we would all wait, and I'd be like, okay, now can John go?
Uh-huh.
And he'd be like, all right, let's go. And we would all steer and drive. And I was probably Dean's age or younger.
Oh, my gosh.
8, 9, or 10 years old.
I know parents now who have done that, and that literally was a conversation between me and Dallas, because I was like, if I ever caught you doing that, I would be floored.
Kristen says in San Francisco, people do the rolling stops all the time. You're right, Kristen. I lived out there. That's why it's called the California Roll.
Yep. That's exactly what it's called.
What about you guys? What do you remember your parents letting you do with the car when you were a kid? But it just reminds me, sometimes we just let the kids do those things. When I was younger, LauRen, I was probably, 8, 9 years old, and my neighbor would let me and my friends sit on his lap and drive his Miata up and down the street. Now, he, of course, was there and would do the stick shift, and that's fine, but how about this one? Someone texted in and said, when I was 8, my stepdad used to have me sit in the passenger seat and shift the gears on his 1992 Honda Accord. We'd be driving from church, and I would be shifting in his car in traffic. So unsafe, but that's so 90s, early 2000.
Mm-hmm.
AJ said when I was about 6, my dad had a pickup truck and was in manual. I got to sit in the center of the pickup truck and shift the gears, too. That's how I learned how to drive manual.
At least you weren't running the pedals. Dad was still in charge of the pedals at that point.
Right. Yeah, good point. This is Melinda. Good morning, Melinda.
Good morning.
Melinda, what happened?
So I grew up in a mountain town, and we were about 10 years old. One of my good friends' dad was a driver's ed teacher at our local high school, and he decided to let her drive one day to teach her how to drive on one of our mountain back roads. And she was sitting on his lap. She hit a tree and hit the steering wheel and had to get stitches in her forehead.
Oh,
jeez.
How old was she when they were learning?
About 10 years old.
Yeah, 10 years old. Maybe too young. I don't know.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was controlling the pedals because we were not very tall at 10 years old.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm trying
Thanks,
to
Melinda.
think how old I was when I hit the fence and let all the horses out.
Oh, yeah, when you were driving. Was that your dad's truck?
Yeah, it was my dad's truck, and we went to go fix one of his clients' fences. And he asked me to move the truck, and I said, I don't know how to drive stick shift. So he was going to talk me through it. and I put it in gear, and then he said, let off the clutch. But what he didn't say, wait until I'm done with my directions. You have to, push on the gas and the clutch, like let it off together.
Yeah, or else it's going to jump.
I didn't know that, so I just let off the clutch, and it lunged forward and hit the fence and knocked down the fence, and all the horses got out.
Did your dad have to go get all the horses?
Yeah.
Someone last text when I
got in so much trouble.
And you probably never drove a manual again.
No, I did.
Oh,
That was actually
did?
one of my first cars was a manual.
Someone says when I was 14, I was learning how to drive with my aunt in the car. She was a bad teacher, says in parentheses. Needless to say, she kept screaming and panicking. And I got so nervous that I ran into my neighbor's front lawn and almost crashed into their house. I ended up falling into a ditch. To this day, we never told anyone, not even my parents, just Maney and LauRen.
Yeah, just to be clear, my dad did not teach me how to drive a stick shift after that.
Right.